Cambridge class, this is your second lesson this week, and again we'll be looking at rainforests for our information, and we'll be looking at charts and graphs today. On the screen you can see two different types of bar charts. This one is called a vertical bar chart because the bars are vertical, and this one is called a horizontal bar chart because the bars go across. So here we've got a horizontal bar chart, and this bar chart shows the drinks sold in the Rainforest Cafe on one particular day. How many Ribenas were sold on that one day? So follow the bar across and look down at the axis. So 140 Ribenas were sold. How many orange juices were sold? And that's halfway between 160 and 180. So 170 orange juices were sold. How many iced teas were sold? So that's 60. How many waters were sold? Halfway between 80 and 100. So 90 waters were sold. How many coffees were sold? 120. And how many colas were sold? So halfway between 180 and 200, that's 190 colas. Now have a go at these three questions. Pause the video while you do this. Which drink was the most popular? So which drink had the most sold? The one with the longest bar. So the most popular drink was cola. Which drink was the least popular? The one with the shortest bar. So iced tea was the least popular drink that day. Which drinks were bought by over 130 people? What I'll do is I'll draw a line going up at 130, and we can see which bars go longer than that. So Ribena, orange juice and cola. How many more coffees than iced teas were sold? This is a difference question. So coffee was 120 people and iced tea was 60 people. How many more coffees, so looking at this section here, how many more coffees than iced teas were sold? So 60 plus what makes 120, or 120 take away 60 to get this gap here. So that is 60. Now think of a sum question and solve it. So a sum is where you add two or more items together. An example could be, what is the total number of iced teas and waters sold that day? So iced tea is 60 and water is 90. So 60 plus 90 is 150. Pause the video while you write a sum question. Now think of a difference question and solve it. So like on the last slide, we had how many more coffees than iced teas were sold. You could also say, what is the difference between the number of colas and the number of coffees sold? So that would be 190 take away 120, which would be 70. So a difference question is a takeaway. Pause the video while you write a difference question. Now we've got a bar chart that shows 2 bars per month. It's the average daily temperature in degrees Celsius. So London and Manaus, and this is in Brazil where the Amazon is. So January, the average temperature in Celsius was 4 degrees. But in January, the average temperature in Manaus was 25, that's 26, so it's 25.5 degrees Celsius. Which was the hottest month in London? So London is all the red bars. Which was the hottest month, means which was the tallest bar. So So follow the line going across. Which was the hottest month? And that was July. Which was the coldest month in London? The coldest month is the one with the smallest bar, which is this one, and you're looking at the month. So January was the coldest month in London. Now have a go at answering the remaining questions. Pause the video while you do this. So what is the highest average temperature recorded in Brazil? So looking at my yellow bars, the highest average temperature, so not the highest month, but the highest average temperature. And we've got 3 bars here that are all the same height, and they are 28 degrees Celsius. For how many months was the average temperature in London higher than 10 degrees Celsius? For how many months? And that's London, so the red bars, higher than 10. So here is 10. We've got this month, May, this month, June, July, August, September, and October. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. The average temperature in London was higher than 10 degrees Celsius. And the last question, how much warmer was it in Manaus than London in April? So here's April. So in London it was 9, and in Manaus in April it was 27 degrees. So how much warmer? That's a comparison, that's a different question again. So 27 take away 9 equals 18 degrees. So it's 18 degrees warmer in Manaus than London in April. Now you've got some new questions here. What is the lowest average temperature for Manaus? Looking at all these bars, are very, very similar. But where's the lowest one? That's here, look. In January and February, it's the lowest temperature. And that looks like it's 26.5 degrees Celsius. What is the difference in temperature between London and Manaus in February? Difference between London in February, so that was 4.5 degrees, and Manaus in February was 26.5 degrees. So to get the answer, you do 26.5 take away 4.5, which is 22 degrees. Now pause the video while you answer the next 2 questions. How much colder was it in London than Manaus in January? So January, it was 4 degrees in London, and it was 26.5 in Manaus. So 26.5 take away 4 equals 22.5 degrees. How much warmer was it in Manaus than London in February? So February it was 4.5 degrees in London, and in Manaus it was 26.5. So 26.5 take away 4.5 was 22 degrees. That's a very similar question to this one, just worded slightly differently. This is now a line graph, and it's showing deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon as time goes on. It's a continuous line graph. Which year saw the greatest amount of deforestation? Deforestation is the number of trees that have been cut down or burnt. So we're looking for the tallest. Let's just draw a line going across for the peak there. Which year saw the greatest amount of deforestation? And we're looking at the year, which are all along the bottom. And that was 1995. Out of 1993 and 2008, which saw the most deforestation? So 1993 was that tall, and 2008 was this tall. So which year had the most deforestation? And that was 1993. Pause the video while you complete the remaining questions. How many kilometres squared were cleared in that area? In that year, sorry. So the area that was cleared in kilometres squared. And that's in 1993. So in 1993, I've got the line going across, it's 15,000 kilometres squared of trees disappeared in 1993, and that's crazy. Which year saw 20,000 kilometres squared of rainforest cleared? So 20,000 is here. Got to follow the line across until we meet the point, which is here. So going down, it was the year 2000 that had 20,000 kilometres squared of rainforest cleared. That's just in one rainforest, the Amazon rainforest. How many kilometres squared were cleared in 2004? So 2004 is here. Drawing a line up and across. How many kilometres squared were cleared in 2004? I've got to estimate here. I would say about 26,000 kilometres. When is the last time more than 15,000 kilometres were cleared in a year? So I'm going to draw a line across for 15,000 kilometres. When is the last time that more than, so it's got to be higher than this point, 15,000 kilometres were cleared in a year? So if I'm looking at the years, so that was 2015, that was 2016. So more than, I would say it was 2005. For how many years have more than 20,000 kilometres of forest been cleared? So 20,000, for how many years has more than that been cleared? So it was here in 1988, that's one. So that was 1994, that was 1995, so that's the second one. 1996 was at that level, so we won't count that one. And we're back over here. So 2002, so that was the third year. 2003, that's the fourth year. 2005, that's the fifth year. Oh, hang on, so we've got 1988, 1995, 2002, 2003, 2004, but then 2005 is slightly lower. So that was 5 years. More than 20,000 kilometres of forest has been cleared. Well done if you got those right. Now here is your last slide of the day. Here is a graph with a result missing. Use the clues to complete the graph. It's another line graph, and it's showing the temperature across the year, and filled in we've got February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November and December, but we haven't got any data for January. So let's read the clues and see if we can work out the answer. Find the difference between the February and September temperatures. February and September temperatures. Divide this by the difference between the November and March temperatures. So to find the difference between February and September, you've got to do a takeaway. And then you need to find November's and March and do a takeaway to find the difference. And then divide them two numbers together. Then add the difference between April and October temperatures, and that will tell you the January temperature. So pause the video while you work this out. So February was 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees, and September was 20 degrees. So the difference between 8 degrees and 20 degrees is 12 degrees. Now we've got to look at November and March temperatures. So March was 12 degrees. November is 9 degrees. So the difference between 12 degrees and 9 degrees equals 3 degrees because we have to do a takeaway. So we've got to divide this difference between this difference. So 12 divided by 3 equals 4. Now add the difference between April and October temperatures to the number 4. So April is 10, 11, 12, 13 degrees, and October is 14 degrees. So the difference between 13 degrees and 14 degrees equals 1 degree. So I've got to add 1 degree to 4 degrees. So that's 5, which means that in January the temperature was 5 degrees. Well done if you got that right, and we can join them up. Amy says the missing temperature must be 31. Clearly she is incorrect because the scale does not go high enough. Find out where Amy went wrong and explain her mistake. So using all these clues, how on earth did she get 31? Pause the video while you try and work this out.